Hey, you, what's happening at work? What's keeping you up at night? What's causing you frustration or depleting your wellness at work? Talk to me and with me. This is Joyce Odidison, your host with the What's Happening at Work show, where we create solutions to work, live, and play well. Join me now for next episode. Hello, and welcome here, Joyce Edison. I'm so excited that you joined me for another episode, and this is the series, the Wellness Competency series, and we are on competency number 3, self-mastery. So we've spent some time and we've covered the other two, the first two. We've looked at integrity, we've explored responsible communication, and now we're looking at self-mastery. Now, as you know, self-mastery is the competency that aligns with emotional wellness. And if you know something about us humans, we are emotional beings. We've been born with senses, and so these senses, these sensory glands we have, and just allows us to go around and sense things that sometimes we're not even aware of how intuitive we are and how we can pick up on things. And it's such a gift. It really is a gift that we have as humans that sometimes we don't appreciate, and sometimes we can let it get out of hand. So why self-mastery? Self-mastery is so aligned to emotional wellness because we are feeling beings, right? We feel before we think. Our feelings often generate our thoughts. And so if we don't learn self-mastery early enough in life, our emotions could end up ruining our lives, causing us to make choices that are not good for us. So we find ourselves making choices based on our emotions. We make choices based on our fears. We make choices based on anxiety. We make choices based on stress rather than choices that are well thought out, choices that are contemplated, choices that will lead to positive outcomes for us. And that is something that all of us as humans have to learn to develop. And so when we look at self-mastery as a competency, we ask ourselves, how can I develop self-mastery in this particular area of my life so that I can manage my emotions, so that I can be at a place where I'm balanced, my emotions are balanced. And that's what we're looking for when we look at wellness in these dimensions. When you look at emotional wellness, what would a balanced emotional wellness look like? What would balanced wellness means in your emotional dimension? It means that your emotions are balanced. You're not overboard on any particular emotions. So when we look at, having an awareness of yourself and what's and of others around you, that's one of the senses. It's one of the things that we develop. And when we have self-mastery, when we develop self-mastery as a competence, we become aware of ourselves, we become self-aware, and we become aware of others. And so that helps us to identify our emotions. It also allows us to separate our emotions from that of others, recognizing that someone may be angry, I don't have to be angry also. Someone may be upset, maybe I can put on some empathy hat and ask them and be there for them and support them and really use those other emotions to support them instead of becoming overly emotional where I lose my ability to maintain that balance and to be of service to that person. Those of us who in a professional setting that works with people who are facing difficult emotions or having their own emotional challenges, they are still learning self-mastery, they're not able to master their emotions, then we have to learn how to be compassionate and empathetic and not be drawn into the emotional drama, so we can detach from that, so we can be of help and of service to them. It's very, very important that we learn to do that. And sometimes we need to do that in our personal lives. We need to learn to do that in our workplaces. It's a skill. Self-mastery is a competency that we develop. One of the things that I teach around self-mastery also is the ability to recognize, to be self-aware enough to recognize that you are not your emotions. We are emotional beings, but we still have that central nervous system. We still have that brain. We still have that ability to identify emotions. And once we've developed that level of self-awareness, we become aware of the emotions we're feeling. Then we are able to identify the thoughts that are triggering that emotion, and journey back to look at what the circumstances are. Am I making the right decision? What thought am I having? And how does that thought serve me? Who do I become when I think that thought? All of these things are very important steps that we can take towards self-mastery. Recognizing first that, having that self-awareness to recognize that your emotions are what you feel. They're not who you are. And if you look around in our society, we have languaged it incorrectly. We walk around telling people, I am angry, I am frustrated, I am angry, I am mad, I am sad, I am glad. And we have so wrapped up ourselves with our emotions that we're not able to extricate ourselves emotionally from our feelings, and detach from our feelings, so we can observe our feelings, observe our thoughts, and then construct the right feelings and right thoughts based on the outcome we want to have. So many times people will tell me, I regret doing this. I wish I didn't do that. I regret this. This is because we regret things when we didn't separate our emotions, right? We feel an emotion and we act based on that emotion without actually thinking clearly about the consequences or the circumstances and everything that's involved. Very, very, very important for us to do that. The other thing that's crucially important for us to recognize is that sometimes emotions can be, we can feel emotions and they can be sort of dormant. And then certain things may happen in our lives, in our society, and we may feel that sense of righteous anger that's spilling over. And many people have called out and asked, okay, look at what's happening. Here we are, it's 2020, it's COVID-19, and George Floyd was killed by a police officer kneeling on his neck for over 9 minutes. And the world went awry. Everybody was outraged when they saw that. And the Black Lives Matters and the when you look at the marching, and you look at the demonstration, you look at the amount of people who turned out in thousands and thousands and are speaking out from every level of society, people are asking, well, what's happened? Why now? And it seems like people are looking sometimes, when emotions are raw, when there is a group of people who are feeling the same pain, it does give people strength to cry out and say, this is not right. And this is not a cry that only Black people are having. It's a cry that everyone is having, because everybody is affected by these kinds of things in our society. Obviously, there is a problem. And you see, when you see the demonstration, when you see people outside, protesting, and you see the placards, and you see, this is a constructive way to deal with emotions. There are many ways to deal with the emotions we feel. We can be destructive or we can be constructive. So this is a constructive way to deal with the anger and the pain by protesting, by writing a letter, by, talking to your MP, or being part of a group, being part of a focus group or a conversation. It's very important for us to do that, because um, it really shares that we see, we empathize, we share the other person's pain. And this is a particular difficult time for the whole world, because we've basically been locked down for months because of COVID-19, and people have been feeling stress, overwhelmed, people have been feeling displaced. Many people, there's fears and some uncertainty about jobs and layoff and income. So a lot of people have been stressed. A lot of people have been burdened financially by the lockdown. And when we look around and we see what's happening, it's very, very important to recognize that sometimes people need to express the emotions. We need to express our emotions. The goal is looking for a way to express it constructively, not with looting, not with violence, not with killing people. It's to use that emotion in a positive way to constructively create change. And if look at the amount of changes that has happened in that short time, in less than 2 months, so much has changed. Laws are being written, and policies are being changed, and sweeping changes are being made all over the world. And you say that is a good thing, because people are using their feeling of anger and outrage in a positive way to demand change. So you and I can look at, in our workplace, what are some of the things that are happening that's upsetting you? And often when I see employees and they come to talk to me, they're upset, they're angry with their bosses or their coworkers, and they're just having such a hard time with the emotions. Some have lashed out negatively, some haven't, some have, suppressed the emotion, and it's impacting them in their health, and they're not feeling well. They've got high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, and angina, and different things that are happening. So there are different ways that emotions are manifested. One of the courses I teach is called Coaching Through Emotional Pain, where we see how clients are showing up with emotional pain, and it's actually manifesting in physical pain in their bodies, because different parts of their body, because they have wounded emotions, because they haven't been able to deal with that emotion. So a lot of times when we have those emotional pain, when we have those things in our bodies that are manifesting, when we're feeling pain, when we're feeling upset, it's very important for us to start thinking, what kind of emotion am I suppressing? So when I say that we need to detach from our emotions, and we're not our emotions, and we need to be constructive, I am not saying to go ahead and keep the emotions in, the negative emotions in, and harm yourself with emotional pain, because that's another way that we can, our emotions can cause us illnesses, right? Can cause illness and disease and mental health disease, because we're not expressing our emotions in a healthy way. So we don't want you to suppress your emotions. We want you to name it. Go ahead and name the emotion. This is what I'm feeling. So self-mastery is being able to identify those feelings, being able to be assertive, to ask for what you need, or to express what you're feeling in a constructive way, to recognize fears and anger when they come up. And I know that's a part of life. And part of life is learning to deal with shame and guilt and disillusionment and those things when they happen, but also recognizing that there is joy, there's happiness, there is doubts, there's stress. But you get to choose every day where you're going to spend your time. What are you going to have your thoughts focused on? This is where we have control, and this is where self-mastery come in, is the ability to master your thoughts and emotions and to align the right thoughts with the right emotion and to take the corrective action as a result so you can make the changes you need to correct that emotion. It also really calls on us to cleanse our emotion. One of the things that I also teach, I created a 30-day emotional cleanse program that I offer free to the public so people can actually start cleansing their emotion, because a lot of us carry around those toxic emotions, and then we have those triggers. Something happens and we snap because we have so much toxic emotions that we haven't dealt with, we haven't cleansed, we haven't named and released. So this is an opportunity to release those emotions. And part of self-mastery is doing that emotional cleanse, detoxing those emotions, looking at those emotional triggers and clearing them, flushing them out so you can always be able to recognize your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, and connecting them and then making the right choices. That's where we are. That's when we come to self-mastery. So that's one of the goals I have for you as you listen to this podcast. I want you to do a little bit of homework as I do in this series. I want you to start jotting down the emotions you're feeling. Name it. If it's anger, say it's anger. I am feeling anger. Don't say I am angry. I am feeling anger. I'm having feelings of anger. I'm recognizing it. It's connecting with me here. I feel some anger in my chest, or it's coming across in my breathing, or I'm having, it's like I'm having stomach problems, or I'm feeling it in my gut, or it's in my head. Where is that anger? Name it. You are not anger. Anger is an emotion. It's a good emotion, but we sometimes don't use it for the purpose that it's intended to. It's supposed to galvanize us into constructive action because something is out of sync with our values and our belief system. And that's why we feel anger, right? Something is out of sync. Something is hurting, or is sending disconfirming information about something we believe strongly about. And or we care deeply, or someone we care deeply about, or a relationship. We're not feeling we're not feeling okay in a relationship that we've invested in emotionally. So a lot of those things come up. And in your workplace, when you're finding that you're struggling with your coworkers or with your boss, it's really going back to look at what was your expectation for that relationship and where is it now. And that will give you some time to clear your mind and to think about what emotions am I feeling and how am I going to deal with it? How am I going to deal with it constructively? Because that's when you get to self-mastery. So go ahead, do that homework, name the emotion, write it down, think about what you're going to do about it, and take steps to do it, because that's the key way to start building self-mastery as a competency. Now, if you're looking for help to build any of these competencies, I want you to join me in Mastery. I do Mastery coaching every Friday at noon Central Time, where I work with my network to develop these competencies in their lives. So we're working on various competencies and helping you to coaching you through to developing these competencies so you can master your life. So don't forget to join me on Mastery. Just look for coaching on our website, on and any of my website, joyceedison.com or interpersonalwellness.com, and click into Mastery, sign up, and I will see you on an upcoming Friday. Take care. Joyce Odidison here, and we'll see you in mastery. You've been listening to What's Happening at Work. This is Joyce Odidison, your host, and I want to thank you for being with us. Thank our guests and our sponsors, Interpersonal Wellness Services, Inc., the Global Workplace Wellness Summit, and of course, the Wellness Competency Mindset Movement. And if you want to hear from us, learn more, or get more episodes, join us at interpersonalwellness.com, where we help you to work, live, and play well. Bye now, and we'll see you for another episode.